Hey guys, Tyler Ansman here with Tyler Ansman Performance. So today we're going to talk about kind of the differences between a pushing and pulling arm action and kind of a blending series we can use to kind of help you move away from that pushier arm action. So kind of how would we define the two arm actions? So a pulling arm action, right? Ideally kind of when we get to that position at foot strike, we're at a pretty deep position of kind of retraction and horizontal abduction. And then essentially what's going to happen from there is kind of these proximal segments will pull these distal segments through, right? So kind of the bigger pieces closer to the center of the body are going to pull these smaller kind of farther pieces through, okay? And then we're going to accelerate those distal pieces very late. And so what's kind of going to happen is as torso rotation begins, right, the arm begins getting pulled through and we kind of segment the torso and the shoulder complex, right? We lag the arm, we get a stretch across the pec. As this begins going, the arm lags and then essentially that's gonna be pulled through and then elbow extension will kind of happen as the arm unfolds away from you into ball release. So a pushing arm action, on the other hand, is going to be more dominated by this elbow kind of flexion extension pattern. And so kind of the reason for that is your body's going to look for ways to kind of solve problems based on what limitations you have. And so if we're limited in terms of kind of mobility through that kind of pec and shoulder complex, we'll try to find a different way to apply force to the ball longer so we can still kind of get X amount of velocity on there. And so if you're having this issue where we have kind of this pushier arm action where that elbow is kind of dominating it, right? We're getting this kind of fake layback up and over. We're getting that elbow shooting forward early rather than kind of gradually being pulled through by that kind of pec and shoulder complex. This may be kind of a series that may be helpful for you. So one of the first places we'll look when we have a guy with a pushing arm action is at mobility and kind of soft tissue restrictions. And so one of those regions we can get kind of a real issue is the pec and the pec minor. And so we'll do some releases there. A barbell pec smash can be really helpful. If you can get some manual therapy from either a PT or manual therapist, that can also be very helpful because they can get a little bit more in there into the pec minor since it is deep to the pec major. But in a pinch, this will work. The other piece is the posterior shoulder. So we'll do some kind of internal, external rotation releases back there, really trying to get after the infraspinatus a little bit. Next piece is the subclavius. And so this is kind of the muscle right below that collarbone. This can restrict kind of how the collarbone and kind of first rib move when we're talking about movements at the shoulder complex. It can be kind of an issue here and something that we'll see with thoracic outlet syndrome as well. So we want to make sure we kind of get this grittiness out of that subclavius. So those would be kind of the first pieces. The next piece would be kind of the mobilizations to kind of lock in this new range of motion after we do these releases. And so this would be, you know, with the kind of end range push-up iso holds, and things like that. We can do kind of deep end range feels there. All right, so on to the drill progression. So the first piece we're gonna see here is kind of this deep overcoming iso push. So what you're gonna do is you'll get your the front of your shoulder, your elbow and your hand on the wall, turn away as far as you can, keeping those 3 points of contact, and push as hard as you can into the wall. And so what we're gonna do is we're kind of gaining strength in this end range of motion to be able to kind of pull through from the shoulder complex instead of kind of pushing with the elbow. All right, so the next piece up will be the kind of 10-toe of the pause. And so what we're doing here is we're getting a feel for kind of that deep position of retraction and horizontal abduction. We're isolating the arm action here. We're taking the lower body out of it for now. And what we're gonna do is get a feel there, nice and relaxed, and then we're gonna pull through, kind of letting that arm, that elbow extend away from us. All right, then we'll kind of move on to a slightly more specific position, right? A split stance with a rock back. So we are gonna be able to get a feel for kind of what we're doing with that front leg rotating around it here, but the kind of main area of focus will be on letting that arm kind of float into that retraction horizontal abduction and then being kind of bounced back and pulled through when we get to kind of that torso rotation piece of this. All right, the next one will be rockers with a figure 8 and a ghost rep. And so what we're gonna do here is we're gonna kind of bring the arm swing into this as relaxed as possible. We're gonna trace that figure 8, and then we're gonna kind of feel it flip up. And so that'll be a ghost rep. So we're gonna feel that pattern, kind of simplify this a little bit. And then what we're gonna do is on the next rep, we're gonna actually throw. And so this will kind of give us a little better chance to kind of slow down this movement and kind of get a feel for what we're trying to do here. and make it a little bit more likely that we find those kind of ideal positions that we're looking for. All right, the final drill will be the overhead walking windup. So by kind of going to this this old school overhead move, what we're going to do is we're going to get a little bit more rhythm kind of heading into that arm swing. It's going to be really helpful for guys. So kind of a similar idea to a glove tap, but we're just kind of adding this larger range of motion. So we're going to kind of keep it in rhythm, keep that tempo up, and kind of go right through that walking windup. And then finally, we'll take it to a pitch on the mound. So, you know, generally when we're going through our patterning work, we want to kind of go, you know, a little bit easier in the beginning, and then kind of as we go, we can ramp it up a little bit. But I would start kind of on the lower side of things here, and then go from there. So that is kind of our drill progression for going from a pushing to pulling arm action. This is just one example, just a few drill options here. There are certainly more that we could go through, and these would kind of progress a little bit as we go through this process with guys, but this is kind of one example. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you're interested in some guidance in your own career and some help getting to the next level, let us build your program for you. So the way this will work is we'll take you through an entire assessment process, going through your mobility and movement screening. We'll take you through a mechanical analysis as well, based on about 60 points that we've built out to kind of decide where your greatest areas of opportunity are. And then we'll also go through a force velocity profile so we can help build out your strength and conditioning plan. With this in mind, we'll build out an entire plan for you based around all of your kind of areas of need, weakness, and opportunity based on your time of year and working with your current school schedule if that becomes an issue. You'll have access to your coach every day with unlimited text and email support, and a video library for kind of any issues that you have with the movements. We'll also check in weekly to see how your throwing is going, and we will kind of guide you through the entire process. If you're interested in this, shoot us an email or kind of check out the informational page on the website if you have any questions. Thanks.